guys, in today's video I'm going to give you some tips to reduce the number of times in a day that you touch your face. This is something that we're hearing a lot now, reinforced to us in an effort to reduce transmission of cold and flu viruses. We should all stop touching our face, but it's actually really hard. I myself touch my face a fair amount. Obviously, when I apply sunscreen, I wash my hands or use a hand sanitizer before reapplying, but that is the situation where I'm touching my face more often. And another common trigger for me is seasonal allergies. We have a lot of pollens here in Houston with all the trees, and that can flare my seasonal allergies. I'll get a little itch near my eyes, or my nose will start running and it'll make me want to touch my face. Really hard to avoid. So my number one tip is to just be mindful of your behaviors and spend some time paying attention to what it is that's causing you to touch your face throughout the day, because I find it varies a lot from individual to individual. For me, like I said, seasonal allergies and putting on sunscreen. But for other people, it might just be the fact that sometimes people touch their face when they're nervous or anxious. This is really common. And we all have stress in our day-to-day life. And there's a good chance that when you're stressed out, you end up touching your face and you're not aware of it. So pay attention. The other reason to touch your face is if you wear your hair down, you have long hair, the hair brushing up against your face, it's going to make you touch your face at some point. So for me, that's why I always wear my hair up. I can't stand having my hair touching my face. Just, I'd be touching my face with my hands all the time. I see a lot of patients who complain of facial itch that gets worse at night or comes about at night, and they have no skin issue. They have no primary skin disease. There's nothing on the skin that they can see or I can see. They just feel like their face gets a little itchy at night, and it tends to be associated for them with stress. We know that itch is worse at night. And also, when you have itch, the compulsion to touch your face and to scratch it, if it's on your face, is really strong. It's very hard to avoid. And when you have itch, it actually feeds into your sleep cycle and disrupts your sleep. And so that kind of feeds into more itch and more compulsion to touch your face. When we're sleep deprived or stressed, our neurocutaneous system is like on high alert, and any condition where there's itch is going to get worse, including just facial itch with no primary skin disease, or in other skin conditions like eczema. It often gets worse with sleep deprivation and with stress. Unknowingly, many people rest their face in the palm of their hand, or they lean on their knuckles when they're thinking. And so just being conscientious that you do that, you can start to think about ways to avoid doing that. Sit on your hands, but also occupying your hands with things like crafts, knitting, crochet, or even fidget spinners. When I was a medical student, I actually got into spinning my pen. I would do this in class to kind of help me focus and concentrate. It was just like a fidgety habit that I developed, and I got really into spinning my pen. I was actually really good at it. Like I would just twirl the pen, and I don't know. Yeah, my inner baton twirler came out. And I was really into spinning my pen. And then, now we have the fidget spinner thing that was popular at least a few years ago. That can actually really help in just occupying your hands. In the case of itch though, it depends on how severe the itch is. Some mild itch, try writing it out and just not touching your face and seeing if it goes away. That actually often can happen, because actually when you scratch, believe it or not, it tends to exacerbate the itch. So try and just write it out. Sometimes it'll just fade. But if you have itch on your face, it's really getting in the way and it's not going away, I encourage you to see your healthcare provider. It could be a primary skin disease, which would need to be treated, otherwise you're going to continue to cope with itch, or it could be related to anxiety or a psychiatric illness that should be addressed in order for this to get better, or it could be related to poor sleep. These all kind of feed into one another and very, very important. So along those lines, make sure that you're getting really good sleep at night. When we're sleep deprived, as I said, our neurocutaneous system is on high alert. Itch and sensations in our skin tend to be elevated. If you find that you touch your face a lot when you're stressed out, like at work or in traffic, try getting a little rock and putting it in your pocket and just rubbing it, a worry stone, I think they're called. Or wear a necklace. This can actually be helpful to just, you know, play with your necklace. I think it annoys some people, but whatever, at least you're not touching your face. So yeah, just like rolling the necklace in your fingers can kind of help replace that behavior. Something I don't think I mentioned, but is a common reason a lot of people end up putting their hands near their face, is nail biting. This behavior is something that people do a lot when they're stressed out, and it can be a really hard habit to break. Nail biting is problematic in that obviously you're touching your face, which is the point of this video, but you also are putting bacteria into your mouth, can make you sick. And then I see a lot of cases of what are called periungual warts, or warts around the fingers, related to nail biting, because you create little micro traumas in the skin around the nails, and then the wart viruses can enter the skin around the nails. So nail biting is something that definitely, you know, you want to try and break that habit. I recommend a product by Ella and Mila. It's a lacquer that you paint on your nails, tastes bitter, and will break that habit, help break that habit. I recommend it a lot to parents with kids who are nail biting or thumb sucking. It just has a bitter taste and gets in the way of it. Wear your hair back if you have long hair to reduce the hair brushing on your face and triggering itch or sensations that make you want to touch your face. If you wear contacts, that might actually be an issue for you. It is for me. Sometimes when the air conditioning is running, it kind of dries out the contact, it gets a little wonky on your eyeball, and you are, you know, the need to remedy that really quickly comes into play, and you end up touching your face. So if it's causing problems for you, try switching to your glasses for a period of time so that you reduce the amount of times that you're touching your face. And always keep hand sanitizer with you. You know, it's going to be inevitable. You're going to end up having to touch your face. Keep hand sanitizer with you, and at least try and sanitize your hands before you touch your face. That can help. You can also rely on the back of your arm or a shoulder to kind of get at something on your face. You can try that. It's not perfect. There's no science showing that actually reduces the transmission of cold and flu viruses, but it makes a lot of sense. Those surfaces you're not using like you are your hands, so they're exposed to fewer microbes and viruses and whatnot. And also, the skin on the palms of our hands is a lot moister than these other surfaces, and is more of a hospitable environment for carrying germs than the backs of your arm or, you know, your shoulder. So it makes sense that that would be a better alternative, but not like proven, for example. Now, one tip that I have for you guys, if you have itch on your face, and you find that you need to scratch your face, and people aren't going to like this because it's not the most environmentally conscious thing, but you can buy sterilized cotton tip applicators that are in a little packet. They've been sterilized individually. They're a single-use product, so I know it's not the best for the environment, but try keeping a few of those in your bag for these kind of emergent situations, and just break one out and, you know, gently rub the skin if it's itchy with the cotton tip applicator. It's actually better than scratching, not only for this issue of cold and flu viruses, but also the scratching behavior actually worsens itch, but the rubbing gently with a cotton tip applicator is less likely to do that. It's not going to disrupt your skin barrier like scratching, so it's a much better way to do it. Not the most environmentally conscious, but good in a pinch, and they're pretty inexpensive. You can get like a box of 100 of them on Amazon. Now, we all cope with stress on a day-to-day basis, as I said, and it's very likely that you end up touching your face. But if you're an individual who is dealing with something greater than ordinary day-to-day stress, an emotional disturbance, anxiety, depression, please see a healthcare provider and get help. These diseases, one of their symptoms can be problems with your skin and compulsion to touch your face, pick at your skin or your hair. And I see a lot of patients, unfortunately, whose emotional disease is untreated, and they have ended up taking it out on their skin. There are a lot of diseases like this where skin picking is kind of a coping mechanism. So please see a healthcare provider and get help for yourself. And the reason that's also important is that it will also help you on the journey to getting better sleep. A lot of times these issues are accompanied by poor sleep, and they feed right into this kind of high alert neurocutaneous sensations that get really revved up when you're stressed out, anxious, feeling badly, emotionally, you're sleep deprived, and then you're scratching your face, touching your face, picking your face. It all feeds into one another. See your healthcare provider. There are medications that can definitely help in breaking that cycle and getting you back to good sleep. But give yourself a break. You know, we all touch our face. It's unavoidable. And not touching your face is not a guarantee that you won't get sick. It just helps in prevention. Share your tips and tricks down below. Let's all learn from each other. With all of this talk of hand washing, hand hygiene, and not touching your face, let's share some good hand hygiene tips and strategies to avoid touching our face in the comments. I'd love to learn from you guys. I need all the help I can get as well. I hope this video was helpful to you guys. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.